Good morning. Today we will have fundamentals of curriculum design. First, let's have this Peters Oliva's 10 actions for curriculum designer. 1. Curriculum change is inevitable, necessary, and desirable. Curriculum is dynamic and that teachers should respond to the changes. Curriculum is a product of its time, timeliness, and response to changes brought about by current social forces, philosophical principles, new knowledge, and educational reforms. Third, curriculum changes made earlier can exist concurrently with newer curriculum changes. A revision starts and ends slowly, thus the changes can coexist and oftentimes overlap for a long period of time. Curriculum change depends on people who will implement the change. Teachers are implementers, hence they should design and be involved in the development of curriculum to ensure it's effective. Curriculum development is cooperative group activity, involvement of stakeholder, and participation of learner in a significant change in the curriculum to add sense of ownership, understanding, support, and input. Curriculum development is a decision-making process made from choices of alternatives. Curricularist decides the content, philosophy, methods, or strategies, evaluation, and processes to provide for multicultural groups. Curriculum development is an ongoing process. There is a continuous monitoring, evaluation, and improvement of curricula. The curriculum must change as the needs of learner change, as society change, and as new knowledge and technology appear. Curriculum development is more effective if it is a comprehensive process rather than a piecemeal. A curriculum design is based on a plan that establishes intended outcomes, support resources, time, and equipped teaching pedagogically. Curriculum development is more effective when it follows a systematic process. A curriculum design is composed of desired outcomes, subject matter, content with references, set of procedure, resources, and evaluation which can be placed in a matrix. Curriculum development starts from where the curriculum is. An existing design is a good starting point for any teacher who plans to enhance and enrich a curriculum. Major components are answered to the following questions. What learning outcomes need to be achieved? Intended learning outcomes. What content should be included to achieve the learning outcomes? Subject matter. What learning experiences and resources should be employed? Teaching learning methods. How will the achieved learning outcomes be measured? Assessment of achieved outcomes. First, behavioral objectives or intended learning outcomes. Begin with the end in view. As a curriculum designer, the beginning of the learning journey is the learning outcomes to be achieved. In this way, both the learner and the teacher are guided by what to accomplish. The statement should be SMART, specific, measurable, attainable, result-oriented, and time-bound. Cognitive domain level by Benjamin Bloom. Knowledge, recalling information. Comprehension, deriving meaning from recalled information. Application, utilizing the information. Analysis, breaking down information for easier understanding. Synthesis, putting information together. Evaluation, judging and critiquing information. Revise Cognitive Domain Levels by Lauren Anderson and David Crathwell. Remembering, understanding, applying, analyzing, creating. Affective Domain Levels by David Crathwell. Receiving, being aware of something in the environment. Responding, exhibiting behavior based on experience. Valuing, showing commitment or involvement. Organization, integrating new value in one's value system. Characterization, consistency, practicing new value. Psychomotor Domain Levels by Anita Harrow. Reflex movements, responding instinctively. Fundamental movement, performing basic task. Receptual abilities, responding to stimuli. Physical abilities, displaying endurance, stamina, agility, strength. Skilled movements, displaying advanced physical movements. Non-discursive communication, using physical or non-verbal. Psychomotor Domain Levels by R.H. Dave. Imitation, observing and imitating action. Manipulation, performing skills with guidance. Precision, performing skills independently. Articulation, modifying skills to suit preferences. Naturalization, performing skills in an automatic, precise manner. Psychomotor Domain Levels by Elizabeth Simpson. Perception, using senses to guide physical activities. Set, readiness to execute physical activities. Guided response, imitating physical activity. Mechanism, performing parts of complex physical activity. Complex overt response, performing complete physical activity. Adaptation, modifying physical activity to suit preferences. Lastly, origination, developing original physical activity. Second, content or subject matter. The content of the lesson is the topic that will be covered. Principle in selecting content. Subject matter should be relevant to the outcomes of the curriculum. Subject matter should be appropriate to the level of the lesson or unit. Subject matter should be up to date and, if possible, should reflect current knowledge and concepts. Fourth, subject matter should follow the principle of basics: balance, articulation, sequence, integration, continuity, and scope. Content of selection according to Bilbao. Feasibility. Resources such as time, teacher, expertise, materials, and students' ability must make the teaching and learning possible. Second, interest. If the lesson is meaningful, it will ignite interest. Third, learnability. If the students are cognitively and emotionally prepared to engage in a subject matter, it will be learnable. Self-sufficiency. If a lesson is well constructed, it will be considered self-sufficient. Significance. Students should be able to find the purpose of their learning on their personal lives. 6. Utility. Good content must not end in class discussion, but more importantly, it should help students carry out real-life activities. Validity. Content must be subject to scrutiny and research any topic before actual teaching it. Reference, the third one. The reference follows the content. It tells where the content or subject matter has been taken. The reference may be a book, a module, or any publication. It must bear the author of the material and, if possible, the publication. Fourth, teaching and learning methods. These are the activities where the learners derive experiences. The teaching learning methods should allow cooperation, competition, as well as individualism or independent learning among the students. Cooperative learning activities allow students to work together. Independent learning activities allow learning to develop personal responsibility. Competitive activities where students will test their competences against another in a healthy manner allow learners to perform to their maximum. The use of various delivery modes to provide learning experiences is recommended. Direct instruction, Barak Rosenshine Model, Ornstein and Hanskin 2018. State learning objectives or outcomes. Begin lesson with a short statement of objectives or desired lesson learning outcomes. Review. Introduce short review of previous or prerequisite learning. Present new materials. Present materials in small sequenced manner. Explain. Give clear and detailed instructions and explanations. Practice. Provide active practice for all students. Guide. Guide students during initial practice or provide seat work activities. Check for understanding. Ask several questions. Assess students' comprehension. Provide feedback. Provide systematic feedback and corrections. Assess performance. Obtain student success rate of 80% or more during practice session. Review and test. Provide for spaced review and testing. Guided instruction, Madeline Hunter model. Review. Focus on previous lesson. Ask students to summarize main points. Anticipatory set. Focus students' attention on new lessons and stimulate interest in new materials. Objectives. State explicitly what is to be learned. State rationale or how it will be useful. Input. Identify needed knowledge and skills for learning new lessons and present materials in sequence steps. Modeling. Provide several examples or demonstration throughout the lesson. Check for understanding. Monitoring students' work before they become involved in lesson activities. Check to see their understanding directions or task. Guided practice. Periodically ask students and check their answers to monitor understanding. Independent practice. Assigned independent work or practice when it is reasonably sure that students can work on their own with understanding and minimal frustration. C. Mastery Learning, J.H. Black and Lauren Anderson model. Clarify. Explain to students what they are expected to learn. Inform. Teach the lesson, relying on the whole group instruction. Pretest. Give formative quiz on and no-fault basis. Students can check their own paper. Group. Based on results, divide the class into mastery and non-mastery groups. 80% is considered mastery. Enrich and correct. Give enrichment instruction to mastery group. Give corrective or practice drill to non-mastery group. Monitor. Monitor students' progress. Post-test. Give summary test for non-mastery group. Assess performance. At least 75% of the students should achieve mastery by the summative test. Reteach, starting with corrective instruction. D. Systematic instruction, Thomas Good and Jerry Brophy. Review. Review concepts and skills related to homework. Provide review exercises. Development. Promote students' understanding. Provide controlled practice. Assess comprehension. Ask questions. Provide controlled practice. Seat work. Provide uninterrupted seat work. Get everyone involved. Sustained momentum. Accountability. Check the student's work. Homework. Assign homework regularly. Provide review problems. Special reviews. Provide weekly review to check and further maintain and enhance learning. Teaching and learning environment. In the choice of the teaching learning methods, equally important is the teaching learning environment. Brian Castalde in 1987 suggested 4 criteria in the provision of the environment or learning spaces in designing a curriculum. 4 criteria in the provision of teaching learning environment by Brian Castalde, 1987. Adequacy, the actual learning space or classrooms. Suitability, this refers to planned activities that considered chronological and developmental ages of learners. Efficiency, this refers to operational and instructional effectiveness. Economy, this refers to cost effectiveness. Assessment evaluation. Learning occurs most effectively when students receive feedback. The process by which this information is generated is assessment. It has 3 main forms. Self-assessment, through which students learn to monitor and evaluate their own learning. Peer assessment, in which students provide feedback on each other's learning. Teacher assessment, in which the teacher prepares and administers tests and gives feedbacks on the student's performance. Assessment may be formative, providing feedback to help the students learn more, or summative, expressing a judgment on the student's achievement by reference to state criteria. Summative assessment usually involves the allocation of marks or grades. This helps the teacher make decisions about progress or performance of the students. That's fundamentals of curriculum design.